Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May we both, meaning teacher and student, or teachers and students, may we both be protected. May we both be nourished. May we together acquire the capacity or the strength to study and understand what we study. May our study be brilliant. May we not disagree with each other. Om. Peace, peace, peace unto the three sources of karma. May they all be at peace. So this is the prayer, which you can nickname Sahana Vavatu, or opening mantras, or the prayer for successful study. So before you embark on anything, okay, in this tradition, we always pray or ask that we may be successful in our endeavor. We want to be non-attached to feeling like we have control over the results, but simultaneously we are expecting that some success, if we put our best efforts forth, will come of good effort. And so that's what we're asking for here, success in our endeavor to learn something, to study something. And a lot of things can get in the way when we endeavor to do anything. And so a prayer is a means of getting a little extra help from the level of existence that's unseeable, okay? So you do your best given that over which you can have some bit of control, right? You sleep well as much as possible, you eat well, you wake up early, you put your best effort forth to learn, and the teacher puts their best effort forth to teach, to know what they're talking about, to prepare, to do all of that. And simultaneously we send a prayer to, we can say to God, or to a universal principle, or to that which is unseeable, that we may be supported in our endeavor to study and to learn. So I'm going to talk about how the 5 elements are kind of built into this prayer. So the first, at the beginning of the prayer, Om, which is done at the beginning of most Vedic mantras, and there's a whole teaching that can be given about the meaning of Om and all that's embedded into it. But we will just, at this point, say that Om, for the sake of this prayer, signals what we can call the Ganapati principle. It signals the beginning of something, and Ganapati, or Ganesha, many people know Ganapati as Ganesha, another name for Ganapati. Ganapati is invited in at the beginning of anything, and so Om at the beginning of a prayer is signaling that Ganapati principle. And Ganapati actually stands for patterns and categories, and that's really what you're studying in Ayurveda. You're studying patterns and categories, bringing to light patterns and categories that were previously hidden. And so we are inviting in the power of Ganapati, who represents patterns and categories, with just by saying Om at the beginning. Then the next line, Sahana Vavatu, may we both be protected or supported. Both is teacher and student, okay? Or teachers and students. We ask that we be supported and protected. This is the earth element, right? As you've been learning, earth is that which provides support, stability, and protection. The next line, Sahano Bhunaktu. May we both, or may we all be nourished or nurtured, is that word Bhunaktu, to nourish or to nurture. And this relates to the water element. The water is that which nourishes us, okay? Sahano Bhunaktu, may we be nourished. The next line, Saha Vidyam Karavavahai. May we together acquire the capacity or the strength to study and understand what we study. So we can think of this line as being related to the fire element, or the principle of fire. Number one, because of this word virya, viryam or virya, which means strength, vigor, energy, okay? May we have the energy, the vigor, and that is fire. Fire brings in energy and vigor and strength. To then karavavahai, to work together, to do. This doing, this doingness or doership also relates to fire. You know, fire is that relating to rajas, the capacity for movement, for friction even, right? So any doing involves friction, involves movement, involves a dynamic principle, and that dynamism is the fire element. So that's what's being brought to light here, is fire, with that third line, saha viryam karavavahai. May we together have the strength to study and understand what we study. So as well, studying and understanding relates to the fire element, because it is that fire or digestive force of understanding. We need a fire to digest information in the same way that we need a fire in the belly to digest food, okay? So now the next line, tejasvina vaditamastu, is may our study be brilliant. Now tejas does also relate to fire, okay, but here we're thinking of this line as being related to the air element. Let me break that down for you. The first line, tejas, or tejasvi, means that which possesses vigor, that which is enlightening, that which is brilliant. And then the rest of the line is may our study. So may our study be that which is brilliant and enlightening. And in fact, the air element very much relates as well in the Vedic tradition to pursuits of the intellect, to pursuits of study, to knowledge. The knowledge relates to air, the digesting and the capacity for understanding the knowledge relates to fire. Okay, so the previous line, fire, and this tejasvina vaditamastu, this line relates to the air element. That capacity for movement also relates for the capacity for the flow or the movement of knowledge. And knowledge moves, right? Because in this tradition, which is a lineage tradition, it is a tradition of teacher to student, there is a movement of knowledge from the teacher to the student, and on down it goes through a lineage. And that movement of knowledge relates to that quality of movement that we know of to be air. Okay? And then finally, ma vidvishavahai. May we not disagree with one another, or if we want to say it in a positive light, may we get along well together. It's not to say that we don't speak our minds, that we don't voice opinions and engage intelligently in such a way, but ultimately that we get along well together, and that we don't disagree with one another on a personal level, that we don't have conflict. This relates, in fact, to the space element. It has to do with a respect for our environment and a respect for the space of the teacher-student relationship. When the space is violated, then conflict happens, okay? And so an analogy, which my husband just gave me this morning, an analogy would be on the road, you know, between cars, there has to be a respect for the space element, or we have conflict in the form of an accident, okay? So here, mavidvishavahai, may we not disagree with one another. May we not be divided. May we not feel divisive. May we not have even fear between us, which leads to division. And that is all about a honoring of the space element, okay? And then finally, Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. As well, we could take a long time to discuss the three sources of karma. That is the reason why we ask Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We say Shanti 3 times, one for each of the levels or sources of karma. And I'll just briefly explain them. The first is your own individual karma, okay? The influence of that those actions and the results of actions that are your own. The second is the actions and the results of actions of those around you. Okay, so that includes your family, right? So you could have family things come up, as happened with me this morning, that get in the way of study, just even logistically, okay? So may all of that be at rest so that it doesn't get in the way of my study. That's the second shanti, is may that the influence of others around me be aligned in such a way that I may study. With regard to this prayer, it's about successful study. And then the third source of karma is that which is unseeable and beyond anyone's control. And sometimes we think of that as being the deities, the gods and goddesses, which are representations really of forces of nature. Okay? And so may the forces of nature, call them by names of gods and goddesses, or you can think of the weather, okay, or natural disasters, things like that, may all at that level of existence over which I have really no control also be at peace and support me in this endeavor. So Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, we say at the end of every prayer, may all those three sources of karma be at peace, be aligned, be in support of that which I endeavor to do. So I'll do the prayer again one more time in Sanskrit and then with the translation. Before I do that, I'll also say that the elements you may notice are stacked in a particular way, and they're really always stacked in this way, either starting with space or ending with space, but in the same order. So here we're starting with earth, which is, and I'll show that like this. The heaviest is earth, right? Earth, then water, then fire, then air, and then space. Or we can flip it, as we've done with this prayer. The first line is earth, the next is water, the next is fire, the next is air, and then space. They really go from the most dense and solid to the most light and expansive in that order. And generally we see the elements stacked in the same way, with earth on one end of the spectrum and space on the other end of the spectrum. And so with this prayer invoking all of the five elements, we're really, in a sense, also invoking all of existence. All of existence itself, all of manifestation is contained within this one single prayer. So we invoke all of manifestation in support of our endeavor for successful study in Ayurveda. May it be so. I'll do the prayer one more time. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may we both be protected. May we both be nourished. May we together acquire the capacity to study and understand what we study. May our study be brilliant. May we not disagree with one another. Om, peace, peace, peace. Okay, may it be so. And feel